Okay? Okay? How many times do I have to warn you outcasts to stay clear of my landed properties? What are you doing, my life?
What land?
Now listen, you outcast. I don't know how many times I have to make it clear to you not to step your foot on my landed property or anywhere in this forest. Do not hunt here. You are nothing but an osu, an outcast. Did you hear that?
Ngiga, I have warned you not to call me an osu. I have warned you not to call me an outcast.
Ngiga, gods of the land, my eyes have seen my ears. Okay then? I don't have to make any noise about this anymore. Did you hear me? If I see you anywhere in this kingdom, hunting or making any activity here in my land, you will have your useless cursed gods to blame. Did you hear that?
Ngiga, let me make it clear to you. My father gave me this piece of land. So stay away from this land. Ngiga.
So this is a challenge, right? You are challenging me. Shasi,
you won't do me anything.
Judges 11. Now Jephthah, the Gileadite, was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of an harlot. And Gilead begat Jephthah. And Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his wife's sons grew up. And they thrust out Jephthah, and said unto him, Thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman. Then Jephthah fled from his brethren, and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there were gathered vain men to Jephthah, and went out with him. And it came to pass in process of time, that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. And it was so, that when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob. And they said unto Jephthah, Come, and be our captain, that we may fight with the children of Ammon. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, Did not ye hate me, and expel me out of my father's house? And why are ye come unto me now, when ye are in distress? And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, Therefore we turn again to thee now, that thou mayest go with us, and fight against the children of Ammon, and be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, If ye bring me home again to fight against the children of Ammon, and the Lord deliver them before me, shall I be your head? And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, The Lord be witness between us, if we do not so according to thy words. Then Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and captain over them.
In your next word, better come as a freeborn, useless outcast.
When I was a teenager, I decided to study Igbo culture, to understand the culture of my fathers, the way my ancestors lived, and how and why they lived the way they are. And I came to this very glaring conclusion. You cannot understand Igbo culture without understanding the Bible. If you try to, brothers and sisters, and again, I put this as a challenge to anyone. If you try to understand or explain Igbo culture without biblical reference, you will fall short all the time. You will not make sense even to yourself. And this video I want to do today is a perfect example of that. Now, the Osu system in Igbo land, for the benefit of those who are not Igbos, there is something we call the Osu system. Okay, so for benefit of brothers and sisters who are not Igbos, let me explain the Osu system. Someone is called an Osu if that person goes and dedicates himself to any idol in the land. In Igbo villages today, there are many idols. Idols are called alosi. That's what idols are called. If you see my videos, the literal interpretation of alosi means abomination. That's what alosi means.
What is the problem?
Shut up your mouth. Don't ask me some stupid question again. You slaves. Slaves!
Nine, what brought about this kind of embarrassment?
Where is your nine? You're a slave. Don't call me nine.
Nine, don't call me slave. Don't call me slave. I
not
don't like this type of thing.
Get out from here before I hit you with it.
Don't call me slave. Nine, don't call me slave.
They're still talking to me.
Don't call me slave. I'm not talking. Nine, it's okay. It's okay.
Also, you can make get it, I'm white now. We're excessive.
I missed you so much. Tell me, why are you avoiding me? Or have I offended you in any form? Tell me, let me apologize immediately.
May the gods forbid. You haven't offended me. It's just that I...
Open your mouth and talk to me.
So, Princess, the elders of my clan are not happy seeing me coming close to you.
Why? And what for?
They're against your father being the king of this land. Because your clan is outcast.
How could they say such a thing? That was then. Now we are royal blood. We are no longer slaves to anybody.
This is tradition, Princess. I only sneak out here to see you. Princess!
I said that I want to be the greatest farmer in this land.
I wish to be a princess of this land. You be my bodyguard.
And if you are the princess, I'll be the prince.
Yes.
Dreamers.
Bodyguard.
Dreamers. Better think of becoming the Panwan Tapa in this land.
You are a farmer.
You are a farmer.
Come on. It's painful. Please take it easy. I'm sorry, my boy. Sorry, my boy. Go on.
Adezebu Sama, Adezebu Sama, nne ya hụrụ ya n'anya.
Mate, don't follow me.
Welcome, the priestess of the Dark World. I saw your sign.
That is so quick. This is the right time.
Come with me.
Where does the alosi come from? Most of these masquerades you see in Ato, Agaba, all those ones, they were never in Igbo land before. Those things came from communities around Igbo. Most of them came from Igala. So as someone from Anambra State myself, a lot of Igbo civilization around where I come from in Anambra State is influenced by the Igalas. If you go down to somewhere in Abia State, a lot of the tradition they have there is influenced by the Ibibios. So most of the idols, most of the alosi they have there comes from the Ibibios. For instance, if you go to a community like Arochukwu, most of the alosi they have there is, they have what you call the Ekbe cult. Ekbe is clearly an Ibibio name. If you go to Delta Igbo communities, most of the idols they have there comes from Benin. They originally were not Igbo. In fact, if you tell a person, look, I'll go and report you to Alosi, you say, Meje Patalega Alosi. What that means is that I'll go and bring Alosi for you. What does that tell you? If you study the etymology, you go and bring something. That means the Alosi is not on ground. It's something that is being brought. They become an Usu automatically. Their relations were announced to the entire community that these people have done this. They become an Usu. What that means is that that person that goes to dedicate himself to that idol, that person is ostracized from the community. The community tries to cut the person off. We minimize any interaction with that person. We don't marry into his or her family. We try not to marry into his or her family, and we try not to have a whole lot of social interactions. That does not mean that the person cannot go and visit or have relations or even be buried when they die, but we try to minimize this. This is what goes on in Igbo communities. Now, if you sit down and ask yourself, why were Igbos practicing this? That was the question I asked myself. I tried to study it. And brothers and sisters, you cannot understand this practice in Igbo land until you open your Bible and read it. Explained Igbo culture the way it was before it was tainted. Brothers and sisters, please go and read. I don't sell the book. I don't make money from the book. But I would recommend everybody should have that. And I do hope it remains in print. In that book, he said, he explained how we do our cultural activities, how we dance. For he said that we are a nation of poets and dancers. Poetry in Igbo land is called Imambem. Dancing in Igbo land is called Igbo. And he explained that this is how we dance. The men will dance separately, the women will dance, the children will dance, the young girls, and it's a joyful occasion. And these are carried over in most of our dances today. Dances like Etiologo, Ahunecheni, all those kind of dance are reminiscent of what Oladekwano mentioned in his book. There was no mention of masquerade in his book. None whatsoever. Today, if you see people doing Igbo culture, they bring masquerade up and down, they think that's their culture. They don't know that these things were brought in after the colonial era started, after the slavery period started. There was no mention of any masquerade in Olauda's book. For someone, an Igbo person, to write about how we danced, how we celebrated things, and not mention masquerade, that is a significant thing to lay aside. That tells you that the masquerade were not there. If you have this knowledge and go and ask your elders, they will tell you where these masquerades come from. They all came from neighboring communities around us. They were never here before. So I challenge every Igbo person that's listening to me, go and find out this thing and try to prove me wrong. So these idols, this alosi you're seeing, they were never here before. They were never here. So when we do alosi, do idols, do masquerade, we shouldn't say we are doing Igbo tradition, because we are not doing that. That is not the Igbo tradition.